How's it going, guys? We are days away from the NFL draft. I cannot wait to see where some of these guys land. I said it in the last video, I am just so tired of seeing all these mock drafts. I just want to know where these guys are so we can figure out our rankings, who we want to be drafting first, who we want to be avoiding in our Dynasty rookie drafts, because that's all we care about here is Dynasty fantasy football. And most importantly, who we think is going to be the most successful in the future, trying to get a edge on your league mates. And that's why I'm here. And that's why we try to create this community here at Trades and Grades. Today, we're going to be going into the right running back model. If you don't know what that is, we've already produced a couple other videos. Go check those out. Kind of explains what the whole model is about. But essentially, I created a model which hopefully will tell us, and it does, which running backs are going to be the most successful and who you should choose in your Dynasty rookie drafts. So today, we're going to be showing off the post-combine grades. We showed a video of the pre-combine grades without the measurements from the NFL Combine. This is going to be showing our final grades before we get that draft capital that we're looking for this upcoming week. So this is a big one. I'm really excited to show off these grades. If you haven't already joined, we have a Discord link down in the description. Like the video and subscribe. In the Discord, I'm always talking about different things about the model, any trade advice you guys would ever need. If you guys have any trades that you would like to be graded or just want advice on, go ahead and put them in the comments as well. All right. With all that being said, let's get into what this pre-NFL draft, post-combine, this kind of in-between area in March and April where these grades are. So what are the pre-NFL grades, essentially? Well, it's a pre-combine. So before the combine, we have these grades, and then we get these measurements from the NFL Combine. The guys go to the test, and we can see exactly how much they weigh. Are they telling the truth? How tall they are? The 40, the shuttle, 3-cone, all that good stuff. We get to see what their athleticism is like. Now, you can see that on tape as well. However, it is nice to be able to stack each other up against, other running backs in this case, and see where they fall. So while it's not the end all be all, it is something that we like to take into effect and see, how these guys are, because they're not going to be off my board if they test really poorly, but it is kind of a red flag if you're getting some really unathletic guys that you thought perhaps maybe were going to run faster than they really did, or were going to be more agile, or they didn't do very good in the field drills. So don't want to overreact, but it is something to take into consideration as we're looking at these combine numbers. So the most important thing, in my opinion, is making sure you guys get information that is helpful for your dynasty teams. And that's why I always want to make sure that I show you how accurate this model is. So if you've seen the last video, we show kind of a comparison against draft capital. So on the right-hand side, the correlation, it was an R-squared value of 0.414. So essentially you want to get the closest to 1 as possible. So what it's saying is the draft capital the NFL draft does. Now, this is the NFL draft on the right-hand side. Basically, this pre-NFL draft grade is more accurate than the NFL draft. It's got a R-squared value closer to 1. As you can see there, 0.493 versus 0.414. So we can say confidently this is much more accurate than the actual NFL draft. The people who are drafting these running backs in terms of fantasy football. Now, NFL success, that's a whole different thing, but for fantasy football purposes, which is all that we care about, it is much more accurate. So we got that off the list. We know this is going to be helpful for us. Is this the end all be all? No, you should not just go off this model. You should use this as a piece in your toolbox in which you're trying to figure out which running backs you should select. But I'm hoping that this is a very helpful piece and it will help us in determining which running backs we should select. So all that being said, let's look at what these pre-NFL draft grades are. So no surprise here, Bijan Robinson top of the class, and then it is a giant fall from there. Um, when people say there's Bijan Robinson and then there's a tier break, it's no joke. He is beyond anybody else in this class by a wide margin. And then there becomes a lot of depth, which I think this class has been known for, is its depth, and there is a lot of it. It's a lot of, in my opinion, kind of mid running backs. Now the draft capital will be huge to see how the NFL really thinks about these guys. What are they going to be worth it? Is the NFL going to see how many running backs there are in this class, see how deep it is, and decide, you know what, I can get a guy in the 4th or 5th round, pretty similar to a guy I can get in the 2nd round. Why would I burn draft capital on that when I could just get him later? That's something we could see. It could push back a lot of these running backs, or we could see 8 to 10 of them go in the first 2 days. I really don't know what it's going to be like. I've seen mock drafts all over the place. So again, like I said, I just can't wait for the NFL draft to come around so we don't have to guess anymore. But looking at this, I already know people are going to be like, what in the world? How can the model that's been shown accurate in years past have Deuce Vaughn at number 3? Go take a look at Deuce Vaughn's numbers in college. He was an absolute monster in terms of production. He was a freak. He came in at 5'5" at the combine, smallest person ever recorded at the NFL combine. Not great, okay? But right now he's going in the late 3rd, early 4th, and a lot of these rookie mock drafts I've done, regardless of where he goes in an offense, I am getting him in every single draft at the end of the 3rd, early 4th. If you can get him even mid 3rd, I'm taking him all day long. I get he has a really steep hill to climb in terms of his size, but there's nobody that has been that productive. He's just an outlier in all sense of the word. So Deuce Vaughn being that high does not surprise me. Now, the real reason for this video, more or less, now I wanted to show these grades, but I want to harp on something. A guy that I don't feel like many people knew before the Senior Bowl and then going into the NFL Combine, and now that the draft is here, people know about him more. But Tyjae Spears out of Tulane, somebody that wasn't even on my radar going into February, and now he's sprung up here. He's a running back 4 in the model for this class. There's 26 running backs, running back 4, and I'll tell you why. He had one of the best combine performances in terms of overall athleticism that we've seen in the last 8 years or so. If you go back to 2016, so in the last 8 draft classes, I believe, maybe that's 9. No, that's 8. There's only been 19 running backs to have a next gen score of 85 or higher. Okay. So essentially, next gen scores are a combination of production and athleticism based off of what you do at the combine. 85 is a very good number. There's only 2 running backs in this class that have hit that threshold. There were 19 up till this year. There's 2 now. Bijan Robinson, Tyjae Spears. Out of those 19 running backs so far in the NFL, they've averaged just under 15 points per game. I will gladly take that bet with Tyjae Spears. He's undersized, as you can see there in the types category. He's a running back by committee, which means he is under the 210-pound threshold, and he's also under 30 BMI threshold. So not good. That's not ideal at all. He's small, just like a lot of these running backs. So is Jahmyr Gibbs. So is Deuce Vaughn. So is Devin Achane. The list goes on. But I am willing to take a shot on him. How high will I go? I guess is the question. And I think you could argue early 2nd is probably where I wouldn't go any higher than that, depending on landing spot. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. But if you can get him in the 2nd round, mid 2nd round, I'm taking that shot on him all day. I love Tyjae Spears. I think he has. I know that there's quite a few analysts out there who do film who really liked him. Garrett Price at Dynasty Nerds, one of the guys that I trust when it comes to running back evaluations. He seemed to like him quite a bit. So Tyjae Spears is a name you guys need to know. Be willing to draft him. And same with Deuce Vaughn. Again, depends where you get them. I'm not going to say you draft Deuce Vaughn in the second because that's just silly. But these are guys that you need to be looking at drafting. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's not an all-star prospect. I feel like a lot of people think he is kind of this elite category. He's not elite, I guess, but he's not even close to Bijan. I mean, it's not even the same ballpark. Again, this model's not the end-all be-all, but he's not even close, as you can see there. And then we kind of move down the list. Zach Charbonnet, he's there. He's not going to wow you, but he's a good prospect, and he's got the size, which we like. Another guy who's extremely quick, Devin A-Chain, but again, 190 pounds, running back by committee. It's going to be tough. I think these guys are really going to be dependent on landing spots. I don't like saying that because you don't want to go with a proven talent or go with a landing spot dependent person. Like, let's say Devin A-Chain goes to the Dolphins. I mean, you're not drafting him over Bijan Robinson, right? That's just silly. Even if Bijan Robinson goes to the Colts behind Jonathan Taylor, you're just not going to do that. But when you're trying to get these tier breaks between a guy like Tajay Spears and Devin A-Chain, well, if Tajay Spears goes to New England and he's behind Ramondre Stevenson, you're probably going to pick Devin A-Chain if he goes to the Dolphins, right? It's those types of things that we got to be looking at, which I think is the draft's going to determine a lot. Another guy I actually really like is Tank Bigsby. Now, he doesn't do super well in this model. Looks like he comes at running back 10, running back 9. But I think that because of his lack of production, more or less, he didn't have bad production, but it wasn't fantastic. A lot of it had to do with his offensive line. You go look at Auburn's offensive line this year and how they grade out. It was terrible. Really did not have the benefit of the doubt there. And, you could argue, well, good running back should be able to overcome that. Well, he's not an all-star prospect, but he is a good prospect. And I do like Tank Bigsby. I think we need to make a note real fast on Sean Tucker not looking good with the heart condition. I really liked Sean Tucker. He's great in space. Vision's questionable. Already made a video about him months ago. Now he's fallen to the third round in rookie drafts where he was going in like the late first a couple months ago. If he's got a heart condition and it's questionable, he's not off the board, but it's really sad because I like the guy. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I guess we'll find out and see what the NFL thinks. And we'll make a couple more notes here real fast. Kendre Miller, a guy I really like based off of film and just in general. I could have touted him as early in the offseason, maybe a running back 3 candidate. I wouldn't take this model with a grain of salt at certain points. Kendre Miller's, I'm not taking, Kenny McIntosh and Keaton Mitchell over Kendre Miller. He's going to get the draft capital. He's going to get bumped up. So this is going to get more accurate once we get to the NFL draft, and we'll see that. And then Zach Evans, another guy. I don't really know what's going to happen with him. I'm just going to let the NFL shake that one out for me. But we do like Kendre Miller a lot because of the workhorse plus. He's got the size, which we love to see. So if you're going to make a decision on a guy in the second round, keep in mind workhorse plus candidates are a lot more, they have a lot higher of a chance of hitting than some of these running back by committee guys. All right. I think that's all I have for you guys. I really appreciate you watching this video, seeing my grades. I hope they're helpful for you. Again, if you like stuff like this, please feel free to join Discord. Links in the description. We are constantly talking about Dynasty Fantasy Football, trades. I'll help you with your roster. If you have a question about your roster, please feel free to join that, and I will be willing to help you. And then we're always talking about this model, and I have 8 years worth of data that kind of backs it up. So I think that's all I have for you guys. Enjoy the NFL draft this week. It's one of the best times of the year. I'll catch you on the next one.